This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Nature is the influence of genetics or hereditary factors in determining an individual's behavior. In other words, it is how natural factors shape the behavior or personality of an individual. In most cases, nature determines the physical characteristics, which, in effect, influence the behavior of an individual. Physical characteristics such as physical appearance, type of voice, and sex, which are determined by hereditary factors, influence the way people behave. Nurture, on the other, is the upbringing of an individual according to environmental conditions. That is, the way individuals are socialized. Basically, nurture is the influence of environmental factors on an individual's behavior. According to this paradigm, an individual's behavior can be conditioned depending on the way one would like it to be. Often, individuals' behaviors are conditioned by socio-cultural environmental factors. It is because of socio-cultural environmental conditions that the differences in the behavior of individuals occur. Nature determines individual traits that are hereditary. In other words, human characteristics are determined by genetic predispositions, which are primarily natural. Hereditary traits are typically passed from the parents to the offspring. They include characteristics that determine sex and physical makeup. According to natural behaviorists, it is the genes that will determine the physical trait an individual will have. These are encoded in the individual's DNA. Therefore, behavioral traits such as sexual orientation, aggression, personality, and intelligence are also encoded in the DNA. However, scientists believe that these characteristics are evolutionary. That is, they change over time depending on the physical environment's adaptability. Evolutionary scientists argue that changes in genes are a result of mutations that are caused by environmental factors. Thus, the natural environment determines individual characteristics which are genetically encoded in the DNA. Conversely, individuals possess traits that are not naturally determined. These are characteristics that are learned rather than being born with. These are traits determined mainly by the socio-cultural environmental factors or the way the individuals are socialized within the society depending on societal values. These traits are learned as an individual develops and can easily be changed by the socio-cultural environment where the individual is currently staying. These characteristics include temperament, ability to master a language, and sense of humor. Behavioral theorists believe that these traits can be conditioned and altered, much like the way animal behavior can be conditioned. From the discussion, it can be deduced that individuals' traits are determined by hereditary genes and, at the same time, can be natural. There are those traits that cannot be changed in an individual, no matter what condition the person is exposed to. These traits are inborn and embedded within individual hereditary factors. In most cases, they constitute the physical characteristics of an individual. They also determine physical behaviors such as walking style, physical appearance, and eating habits. At the same time, there are learned characteristics that are usually conditioned by socio-cultural values. Individuals learn these traits from the way they are socialized within the immediate social or cultural environment. In other words, such behaviors are conditioned by the cultural values encouraged by the immediate society. In conclusion, the nature versus nurture debate still remains controversial. However, all agree that nature and nurture play a crucial role in determining an individual's behavior. Nature is associated with heredity roles in determining the individual's characteristics and nurture is associated with the role of the socio-cultural environment in determining an individual's behavior. This essay on nature versus nurture was written and submitted by a student just like you. The Ivy Panda Samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one, on various subjects. Visit ivypanda.com to find what you are looking for, free of charge.